Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today in Europe. I'm Jack Sidders with Stephen Carroll. We are joined by Bloomberg's breaking news editor, Louise Moon. Morning, Louise. WHSmith, finding out if you say the words Leo Quinn, your share price goes up. Why is that?
Indeed, yes. So they've named a new chairman, Leo Quinn. That's from April. As you say, shares have been rallying this morning on the back of that. Last time I checked, up over about 9%. So Leo Quinn was most recently CEO of Balfour Beatty, the construction firm in the UK. And the reason that shares are really rallying on his name on this new appointment is the woes that WHSmith have been through since about August. They announced a accounting error in their North American unit. That triggered a stock slump, also their CEO to resign, and they're currently being investigated by the financial watchdog. So in the release, the company noted his history of what they call significant business transformation. So he's obviously, the expectation there is to return WHSmith to stability and deliver on their growth strategy, their longer term growth strategy. So as I say, shares are rising on the back of that. They were leading the FTSE 250, but if you do look back at a more kind of historical level, they're still way off their level prior to that stock slump from August. So there's a long way to go. So they'll be counting on Leo Quinn to deliver that.
Okay, so that's WHSmith. Turning then to Workspace as well, another CEO change?
Yes, so Workspace, obviously the flexible workspace landlord. They have a new CEO. So their outgoing CEO, Lawrence Hutchings, he had just over a year in the role. So somewhat of a surprise announcement this morning, given that time period, but it comes after a very turbulent period for Workspace. Their shares, if you look back over the past year or so, they've been very rocky, down about 10% over the past year, and that's their second straight drop on an annual basis. So they've got a new CEO, Charlie Green. He's the founder of a company that's now known as Fora, which is obviously also the flexible workspace group. It also follows a new CFO just before Christmas, and this is all coming in the context of Workspace warning last year of rising vacancies that would dent profits. Comes on the back of a lot of smaller businesses struggling with the wider kind of economic situation. They've been facing calls from activist investor Sava Capital to wind down the company. So these changes are being seen as a bit of a signal that the board isn't prepared to do that, and it's a bit more of an operational reset with these new appointments, particularly with Green this morning. And Bloomberg Intelligence had a note saying that this full sale is kind of unlikely to achieve, or if it were to happen, would be unlikely to achieve good prices, would risk destroying the value of the company. So yeah, being seen as a bit of a reset there for Workspace.
And BMW, one of many automakers this morning, wishing that they had never heard the word tariff.
Indeed, yeah. The big news, obviously, today, as have been speaking about, of Trump's threat to hike tariffs if a deal isn't reached over Greenland, really hitting automakers across Europe. Essentially, the plan would be to add additional duties of 10% on imports, and this is really hitting. You see BMW down about 7%, Mercedes, Volkswagen, a lot of these German manufacturers that really rely on the US as a big source of sales, of profits, and they're already under massive pressure. That they've got tariffs already of 15%. On top of that, they're slumping sales in China, slower than expected transition to electric vehicles. They're facing a lot of headwinds, and this, if it came through, would be the latest headwind. So there was an interesting statistic from BI predicting that these latest tariffs, if they were to come through, would hit German, UK and Swedish car makers, their underlying earnings, by about 3 billion euros on an annualised basis. So it would be a big hit to them. And we're seeing this across the board. So Stellantis also falling in Milan, Aston Martin in the UK, Tata Motors in Mumbai. So a real global impact on the back of that.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.